Solidaridad is an international non-profit organization founded in 1969. It works to create prosperity throughout agriculture, mining, and textile supply. Solidaridad focuses on the production chains where interventions have the greatest impact on coffee, tea and cocoa, fruits and vegetables, textile, cotton, soy, oil palm, sugarcane, dairy, aquaculture and livestock. Solidaridad supports smallholders and enterprising farmers in developing countries and encourage effective land use and increased production in conjunction with reduced harm to people and the environment. Solidaridad envisions a world in which everything we produce and consume can sustain us while respecting the planet, each other, and future generations. A world where the people who produce the resources on which we all depend can contribute to change that matters, change that leads to prosperity for all without harming each other or the environment. Solidaridad West Africa and its consortium partners is implementing the Smart and Sustainable Land Use SSLU for cotton and soy production in northern Ghana under the Farmer Support Program FSP.
Solidaridad as an organization has a vision of promoting sustainable production for commodity producers to ensure that they increase their incomes and yield while safeguarding the environment. Now the SSLU project fits into this objective in that it promotes sustainable production of poor resource landscapes and ensures that farmers are able to increase their yields through adoption of practices which allow them to increase their productivity while at the same time safeguarding the environments that they work in. The project is in two components. We have the policy pillar and the private sector support component. The policy pillar brings together a number of public sector agencies which have been mandated by the Ghana government to promote environmental development in Ghana. These include SARI, which has the mandate to promote agricultural research in the northern part of the country, as well as the Savannah Belt, Northern Brown Hafu. And then the NRGP, which is the Northern Rural Growth Project. And then the Environmental Land and Water Unit of MOFA. These are the organizations which have been mandated by the Ghana government to ensure the environmental well-being of the country. And so, as a matter of course, this project has to bring these public sector actors together to be able to meet the objectives of increasing production while safeguarding the environment.
The Smart and Sustainable Land Use Project is an initiative to respond to the challenging climate and developing conditions in northern Ghana. It is a pilot landscape approach involving both the public sector and market players in adopting best practices.
As part of the policy component of the program, a consultant was hired by the public sector actors who constituted a working group essentially to try and identify smart and sustainable land use practices already being implemented in northern Ghana as well as across the West African sub-region. The idea was to see which practices best suit implementation by producers and farmers in northern Ghana.
We conducted a study on the land management systems that we have in northern Ghana. It was discovered that there are certain promising practices in northern Ghana. Some are indigenous and some are modern introduced practices. And we identified them. One of it is conservation farming, how to use the land sustainably and with low-cost inputs. The finding was based on 3 crops, that is cotton, soy, and maize. And these were the entry points that were used to conduct the study. Improving soil for the farms has been very key because there has been dwindling rainfall, and there's a need to manage and to harvest the rain so that the farmers can cultivate their crops. One of the key practices that we have is the conservation farming. One of it is ripping the land, the soil, so that water can percolate, because it was found out from other studies that we needed to ensure that the soil contains the rain that falls, and because these days rainfall is very limited. So the other aspect of it is the way we manage soil fertility, particularly by women. The intention has been that we should work with women so that they will improve soil fertility naturally through compost production, cow dung, and all other ways of improving soil fertility. These are the activities that were planned and they are being implemented at the farm level.
The private sector actor, in this case, Agro Business Services, which is a company which provides support to cotton farmers, will then test these sustainable land use practices which have been identified by the policy component in the field. And then once they have been found satisfactory, these then would be mainstreamed, or these would then be presented as policy by the policy actors. The private sector actor, Agribusiness Services, is providing support to about 2,500 cotton and soy farmers working on 1,500 hectares. Its operational areas are the Tolon, Kumbungu, Savalugu, and Anton districts in the northern region.
Having demonstration fields on which we will demonstrate how the various land use practices are done. This is to help farmers to be able to identify and see for themselves the results of the various techniques of the farming practices that are being taught. We have been sponsored by Solidaridad to train our staff who will in turn train the smallholder farmers. Apart from that, we also have a number of demonstration fields on which we have practiced the various land use techniques. And these are located in the communities where the farmers are. Through Solidaridad, we have come to realize that there are other alternative implements that can be useful in promoting sustainable land use and ensuring the health of the soil. For instance, they introduced to us an implement that they call the reaper. It is a kind of hoe-like machine that is carried by a tractor. And the advantage of this implement is that it can plow the land even when there is less moisture. And so in an area where we have short rainfall durations and sometimes very erratic, the reaper can stand in for any plow. And it has certain advantages because it also helps the farmer to plant in rows. During that time, because the durations are short, there is a scramble for tractor service. And with the reaper, you can do the plowing even when the rains have not yet started. And that is a huge advantage to us.
Benda kanatiri untuk kata tukwale, tena de kwama sahatrana ribe nyara de nisim nyeshe, be de berbe sahakatra bandra de me welgan simna ten yipun kwarma. Normalmente ha de kwabra nanga de berbera nanga asma pam de berbera batu, bo drapo nyela fu hadwe kata bertele. Katan da ha bertele ma ante ha tiyam bre lurni kwarma de shab ma gbe nyi yel morserle. Beden da nanka lu de kurwe voilma karni den nakatiyam berma draba de yara kun asma hantiti draba chama ara ko han dwa chwa de garba kare kata berta chutin da berle ka de mahl dari kan ka berle bedin da nan karnye vale dui ma sara ku yuhe sara yuhla je fila sahama ka da son kar bilbo de bilbra ku nun la asama ka dra ko bilbo ngam ka ngarte ni punde te ni pun korcha
ti ba kul mukatam ba har sai mi ban shakam kul ma ko to chang ba yole so ado ko mbiara bo amana ko bukata tirba mbiwa kama dunya ta yipun korcha ma ngura ai ba li pa kul mo pilat mana sai mi shekara ba yole don ko ma na shiga gilfu ma za amfani ya shirpulun na ba
hale gun wona na ko zibje shamo kala yinyere tana ne bala kar biek bobma de to zibra ka bon wote ka te bala shama do tinye ka bo ma bier ko ka chete dinwa.
The idea is to introduce them to the sustainable practices in cotton production, which is a standard called Cotton Made in Africa. They're also being introduced to a standard in soil production called the Roundtable on Sustainable Soil, which is being presented as a framework. It is a set of practices which guide farmers in sustainable production with respect to land preparation, farm management, pesticide application, and so on, and how to harvest in a sustainable manner. The third sustainable practice promoted by the project is conservation farming, which is based on three main approaches. The first is minimum tillage, which requires very little soil disturbance to maintain soil integrity. The second pillar of conservation farming is crop rotation. This entails the promotion of cultivation of nitrogen-fixing crops, which fix nutrients back in the soil. And then the fourth is mulching, which covers the soil with plant material to prevent excessive erosion. The SSLU project has as one of its objectives landscape management. We do know that farming communities understand the uses to which their land should be put. For example, they reserve land for farming, land for recreation, and even land for burial of their dead. The landscape management is designed to enable community members understand the uses to which all the land and environment around them should be effectively managed to their own benefit. The ways in which we teach the communities how to effectively manage their land resources to get the maximum benefit from their environment is to train them in mapping of their community. This shows to them where the different resources in their community are. They begin to understand the interplay between the different uses to which they can put the land in their communities, and by so doing, they learn to protect different elements of the environment within their communities.
Especially in Savlugu-Nantong district, water is a very important commodity. So we also needed to identify existing water bodies in the district, in the communities, so that farmers will be aware and they will protect those water bodies. And if possible, they can make provisions for animals to be drinking part of it, whilst humans also consume other part of it. Then afterwards, we generated maps. Then we took it back to the people to show to them a form of validation that this is what we found on your community. So we came out with maps on what is happening in various communities. That is the various landmarks that are existing in different communities.
A number of lessons have been learned by this SSLU project. The first one is the collaboration between projects such as ours, Solidarity West Africa, and public sector agencies. By coming together to form a working group, there is understanding about our objectives and what we seek to achieve. The second lesson is the translation of policy to practice in the field. This is a very difficult prospect, but through the coming together of the public sector agencies and then the field testing using the private sector partner, we are able to find out what is possible and what is not possible. At least the private sector partner is able to implement the ideas which have emanated from the policy work, and where these have not been able to be implemented in the field, it is made clear to the other actors, and then remedial measures are taken. In this way, we are able to ensure that the policies which come out afterwards from the practice in the field is geared towards the environment and also the initial objectives of the program. The third lesson of this project is the linkage of policy to practice in the field. The private sector partner has benefited from the policy initiatives in its operations. For example, it has been able to transfer the Cotton Made in Africa principles, the Roundtable on Sustainable Soil and Conservation Farming, which were identified and selected by the policy work, into practice in the field. By training its farmers to improve their yields, improve their productivity, and increase their incomes, it has been able to show that by producing in a sustainable manner, you are able to achieve all your operational goals. One, increasing incomes of your suppliers, while at the same time protecting the environment to enable you to produce year on year and meet the objectives of your own business objectives.
In fact, the approach of Solidarity to their work, they did not just provide us with the funding and then say, go and do it. In fact, they handheld us throughout the process to the point that because they have been involved even in the preparation of and sourcing of specialists to come and give us the training. And that has been very useful because as a young company, we didn't have those capacities. With their handheld training approach, we have been able to build our capacities in this area. And that has been very, very useful and unique because most of the time, a donor will only give you the funding and then you go, you submit a report. But this one, they participated in almost every aspect of the project. And that has been very, very useful to us. And above all, the new technology of the Reaper has been very, very useful and beneficial to us.
Taratama nira koma tambirlama de chamka mahle sai zane mahle yirna de tangbanne ka de nyurle to tinye ka de dafana tambir kono ka bre guno na gunma swabisma yuna ti pele ka ye gunma ti san ko kona de mala tangbanma fu
dafan kana te pile la banse ma bo kwa masa bon ça pas ça ne te pas fatrai ma gbara tu min te kana te wo ti yam bahlisha karmata bum dira ma afa tu mi afa na zokat dalma.
We have gone through the trainings from land preparation, site identification, markings, and all of those. We have done the fertilizer application now. We are on with the pest and disease control.
Try and pump a gumde. Tiens en la tenue. You open ma caracette and to be pre bulletin. To be a yelliga shading a limit. To me, who bought Ben Shading and Proton Valley. Amazon, maybe some Canata in Zamban, some sheltered Madu, we had a lab in Yaroma Zaha. The bullet, Caratu entire. The Biahozan chanted Dalafi full. The damn fan is Zue Pam, then two songs chanting Yamapulo. Do me, Hala in Yagba, Galafi can.
The key output is increased crop performance leading to increased yields. And in the end, we expect that incomes of smallholders will be improved.
What we now have to do is to compare the yield from the CF field and compare that with the normal plow field to come out with the effects on yield, taking into consideration cost of production, taking into consideration germination or plant population per field.
Here we are at Tinkurugu, where we have one of our demonstration plots on cotton, maize, and soybeans. So here we have, on this particular plot, we have 3 different treatments. The first treatment is a ripped plot, the use of the ripper. The second one is another ripped plot with the mixture of Eco-T, a fungus that is used to enhance the germination of seeds and the root development of the plant. And then the third treatment is a conventional plowing, where we are doing a comparison between the conventional plowing system and the use of the ripper. That's basically the treatment we have laid out here. And here today we have come to do the harvesting of the seed cotton on all the different treatments. So for treatment 1, which is a rip plot of the cotton, we have done the harvesting, we have done the weighing, and we have come out with 29 kilograms of seed cotton. And the treatment 2 is a rip plot with Eco-T. It was used to treat the seeds. That one we have harvested, and the weighing has been done, and we've recorded 19 kilograms of seed cotton. And then the third plot is a conventional plowing, which we did to compare with the ripping. That one we have done the harvesting, and we have weighed the seed cotton, and we have recorded 25 kilograms of seed cotton.
The cobma, the palma, the pump. Tir na to yer la tratan maquara. The navjet tama, the navjet tama, caviet ban sutama. The poparwa, the navjet. But the man no dalafi. I will goma, catching the will tratama quashema, goma. Handles or no malala here.
A technology like the use of the rippers, in my view, is the way to go now. We as a cotton research institute, we are part of the cotton policy making body, and that's the Cotton Development Authority. And so we can present our findings to the authority, and then policies with regards to the innovations can be formulated at that level. And of course, cotton companies are those who contract farmers to do the farming, and so we can also bring them on board and then share with them the good news of Montilé. And if they accept that, then they can get their farmers involved. So I think that with the involvement of the cotton companies and the Cotton Development Authority, which is now the body overseeing every activity of the cotton production sector, I believe they will be able to get a policy in place that will go down to help the farmers with this new technology. The general impact beyond the project is farmer adoption. If the farmers adopt the technology, we'll be looking at improving our soil conditions, our soil fertility. We'll be looking at saving the farmer a lot of time, a lot of the drudgery of farming, and that time that is freed can be used for other things. And then overall, we'll be looking at improving the livelihood of the farmer.
Generally, the project is on the right track. The activities have been conducted, and we are expecting that over the next years, the farmers who are very interested in it now will continue to work with the key actors.
It's important for us to smartly sustain the way we use our land until we get the concept right and then implement it. Let policy follow it directly. We won't get anywhere.
The fight is on. When I say the fight against poverty, deprivation and hunger is on. We must all come together and help our smallholder farmers come out of the quagmire of poverty and hunger. So we on behalf of ABS and management, we say thank you very much, Solidarity, and we hope this partnership will continue into the future.
This is a very interesting project, and that is the very first of its kind in terms of trying to look at policy issues related to land use practices. And that is something, in my own opinion, should be encouraged. Then we see how policymakers, together with people who are really on the ground carrying out the practices, how do we come together to move the process of sustainable production forward?
Solidaridad, change that matters.